Well, guys, the Packers came in here tonight, got the victory 35-17. We were wondering whether the Packers were going to be able to come in here against a Lions team that is not the best and be able to, redeem themselves from that terrible loss last week to the New Orleans Saints. And they came in and did just that, especially coming in the second half and really dominating. First half, a little more shaky. But I sort of want to go through some of my key takeaways from this Packers game tonight. Sort of give some of my thoughts on that. But if you guys want to see more Packers content, Packers news, all things Packers, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. So first off, if you take a look at the first half coming in here, the defense definitely looked a little bit shaky. Because last week against that Saints team, there were so many plays where they would just hand the ball off, run it for 5 to 10 yards. And honestly, to start off this game, that was sort of a lot of what the Lions were able to do. That first drive, they come in here, score an easy touchdown. Just Jared Goff is throwing the ball all around. And just they were really able to do a lot of what they wanted to on that drive. And one of the drives, I think it was their third or fourth drive, where they did get stopped and have to punt it, was basically they themselves were like hurting themselves. They had like a holding penalty, a false start penalty, and then I think an intentional grounding penalty. So they were hurting themselves a little bit later, but they started off and, the first half, it was a little worrisome, being there I streamed the game and, we were like, okay, Joe Barry's defense is definitely not looking good. If the Packers defense isn't able to come in here in the second half and improve, then I'm definitely going to be a little bit worried because even though we have Aaron Rodgers, if this defense can't play well, then, we're going to have some trouble coming on later in the season, coming into the playoffs as well. But as we know, the Packers came in here in the second half, allowed 0 points. The defense started coming in, getting pressure, stopped them on fourth down, stopped them in a couple other series, had 2 turnovers. Jared Goff, one of them, was just him fumbling the ball because it started to rain. The other one was we got pressure on Jared Goff. He then throws a pick to Devondre Campbell, inside linebacker. So overall, taking a look at that second half, especially for the Packers defense, they came in with some more intensity, were able to pressure Jared Goff a lot more, and were able to cause a lot more damage against the Detroit Lions. And honestly, I'd say the bright spot for this Packers defense was Eric Stokes. So he played a ton in this game. Last week, he only played in 8 snaps. But this game, I could see the Packers were using him a lot more, just sort of around everywhere, all around the entire field. They were using him with Kevin King on the field as well as Jair Alexander. So they played him a lot tonight, and there were multiple plays where Eric Stokes came in there, swatted a ball away, had multiple pass breakups, had solid defense. And so I think if the Packers defense is able to have Eric Stokes playing that way, paired alongside Jair Alexander, there's definitely lots of things to be hopeful for this Packers defense coming into the future. And then if we take a look at this Packers offense, obviously last week it was terrible. They couldn't get anything going on the New Orleans Saints. But this week they come in here and dominate. Aaron Rodgers goes 22 for 27, 255 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 145.6 rating. So some people were wondering, is the Aaron Rodgers of the past gone? Did he, spend this offseason determining whether or not he wanted to come back to Green Bay, and did he maybe not focus as much on football? Well, tonight he came in here and had a typical Aaron Rodgers day, only having 5 incompletions, throwing for 4 touchdowns, and a 145.6 rating. So it was nice to see him in there playing as well as, we're sort of used to seeing Aaron Rodgers play. But overall, he had a very, very solid game. Definitely nice to see him playing that way. Also, one of the bigger things for the Packers at this game is they were able to rely on the run a lot more. Last week versus the Saints, the Packers just really couldn't get the running game going, and obviously that hurt because they couldn't pass the ball either. And so that was one of the things Matt LaFleur was talking about this past week, was basically the Packers need to be able to run the ball a lot more because, when they run the ball, it opens up the passing game more, the play action, all that kind of stuff. And so this week we ran the ball against the Detroit Lions 31 times for 96 yards and 1 touchdown. Aaron Jones had 17 carries for 67 yards and 1 touchdown. And then really where Aaron Jones completely dominated this game was in the receiving game. He had 6 receptions, 48 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So he had 4 touchdowns total in this game. So Aaron Jones just completely dominated in this one for the Packers. And he just, completely dominated. Then we take a look at Devontae. Had a great game. He didn't have a touchdown, but he had 8 receptions for 121 yards. So the question coming into this game, as I said, was can this Packers offense, sort of look like they did last year, or are those days behind them? And today they came in and showed that they still have what it takes. Obviously, the Lions aren't maybe the upper echelon of talent in the NFL, but they still, have some fight in them. So it's good to see the Packers come in here and basically do what they were able to do to this Lions team, especially the defense coming in here in the second half, dominating. Packers offense coming in, scoring 14 points in the third quarter and scoring 7 points in the fourth quarter. So now the Packers are sitting at 1-1, I think tied at the top of the NFC North. And so now next week we'll be facing off against the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football. So that should definitely be a challenge for this team, considering the 49ers have lots of great weapons. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo, lots of great receivers over there, George Kittle. So it's going to be a tough challenge for this Packers defense, but I'm excited to see, you know, what the Packers are able to do. But luckily, I'd say we have a little more hope for this defense just from what we saw in this second half. So I'm excited about that. Definitely excited about Eric Stokes and just really how good this Packers offense looked. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see more Packers content, make sure you guys subscribe, drop a like on the video. Also, thank you to everyone who stopped in for the live stream during the game. I will also be live streaming next week during the Packers 49ers game. So if you want to come say hi, feel free to stop by next week as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. Nice to see the Packers finally finish off with a victory in week 2. But I'll see you guys on the next video.